Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Staying Indian, the NRI podcast. So in Staying Indian, we try to bring around Indian people around the world who are doing excellently well in their fields. Now one such guest I have with me is Darshan. Darshan Shah is joining us from US. Darshan has been working exceptionally as Global Content Marketing Manager for Indeed.com. He has plethora of knowledge when it comes to immigration. He's also the founder of Ok Yaar, which is helping Indians and South Asian immigrants to also helping them with the job market. And in this episode, we'll capture on details around what the job market in US is currently, especially from Indian point of view. What kind of jobs, if Indians are looking into US, what kind of jobs they should be searching for. So Darshan, thanks for joining us.
No, thanks for having me, Gaurav. It is a pleasure to be on this podcast.
Thank you, Darshan. So, with the news around that we see a lot is a lot of firing happening, a lot of different companies, Apple, be it Amazon, be it Microsoft, are firing a lot of employees. So, what I want to start with is, what is the current job market like in US?
Okay, so it is difficult. Right now, the current job market in US is extremely competitive as far as Indian immigrants are concerned. So, to give you sort of some data points, generally, the current unemployment rate in the US is 3.9. It is considered to be historically low, but that does not show the clear picture. Most of the Indian immigrants are in the tech sector. In that sector specifically, there is a lot of competition. If you speak to any international student in the US right now, they are struggling to get internships. A couple of reasons why that's happening is because, like you just mentioned, there have been a lot of layoffs. Companies are in an optimization phase at this point of time. What do I mean by that? They just overhired during COVID. And now with the advent of AI, and everyone is just sort of trying to make their systems efficient. And who are the easiest people to cut when you're making your systems efficient? It's humans. And what happens is that a lot of the tech sector has Indians working for them. Now what has happened is they're laying off a lot of people. At the same time, there are a lot of international students in the market. But because of the layoffs, there are a lot of senior folks vying for the same roles that those international students are vying for. Right now, they're ready to get that pay cut and join any company at this point of time, because they are also on a 60-day clock. If they're on an H1B, they're on a 60-day clock. They need to get their jobs. The international students, after they graduate, they are on a separate clock to get their jobs. So yes, right now, especially for Indian immigrants, the market is not that great. I still don't want to paint a very gloomy picture because there are options. There are companies hiring. It's just become much more difficult to land the role that you'd probably want to sort of get into. But yeah, I think it's a cycle. The market will correct itself in a year and a half or so, as soon as the interest rates goes down relatively. So when that happens, I feel the market will get better for international students. But yeah, right now it is slightly difficult.
So right off the bat, you touched upon very important points, in job cuts. So yeah, it's very competitive. I also was studying a bit, and I found out that there are different areas where, the entry-level jobs are much more as compared to traditional areas like the Silicon Valley, right? Or the New York, New Jersey market. So should not people eye for these different cities?
Oh, definitely. So I think there is a certain myth about Silicon Valley. Yes, obviously there are a lot of STEM-related jobs and the traditional tech-related jobs out there in Silicon Valley. But there are various hubs across the country. So just to name a few, obviously New York, New Jersey is a great place. But there's Chicago. There's Atlanta, there is Texas, multiple cities in Texas, so be it Dallas, Houston, there is Michigan. If you are anywhere related to the auto industry, you have great opportunities there. There is a lot of experimentation happening in healthcare. So if you are someone who fits very nicely in a role with research and related to healthcare, you have great opportunities, because that is a sector that is hiring right now. There is a lot of demand in that sector. I can say that because I'm privy to certain sort of market data because of my role at Indeed. Right. So to anyone sort of planning their move to the US or Canada, I would just recommend that tech and Silicon Valley is not the only area or the hub. Yes, there are a lot of opportunities there traditionally, but post-COVID, things have moved online and a lot of roles are available remotely. You can work out of anywhere. My role is fully remote, even though my team is distributed in Austin and Seattle and everywhere in the US. But yeah.
Yeah, I found that in the study, Kansas City was rated like 83 in terms of entry-level jobs, whereas cities like California were rated at 68 or something. So, a lot of different cities have different jobs.
By default, US relies on expertise. So if they want people who have deep experience of doing one thing for a lot of years, they don't want someone who has experience in everything and for just one year each, right? So I think that clarity is relatively missing for new immigrants who come to the US. There are proper swim lanes for you in your role, and there are very high chances that you might just end up stepping on someone's toes if you try to do something extra. So it's a fine balance that you have to maintain.
Having said that, it's just not their fault, because if you see previous years, fresh out of engineering, fresh out of your MBA, you were getting jobs in US market quite easily, right? So that has to change. That mindset has to change. It's very competitive. Now you will not get any jobs just after your postgrad or just after your graduation. You have to gain some experiences.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So to give you an example, we just recently had a conversation with someone who finished their graduation in US a year and a half ago. You won't believe, but that person had 300 coffee chats with alumni, with strangers on LinkedIn from his field. And that is how they were able to crack internships. That is how they were able to crack their full-time roles. That is how they were able to crack their H-1B visa, right? So it is difficult. But if you're persistent, if you're smart enough in your approach, there are a lot of people willing to take a bet on you.
People are applying hundreds of jobs a day. So you have to do a rigorous, let's say, hard work in this market right now. But coming to the point of AI, AI has been a disruptor in the job market as well. And what are some of the jobs that you see are stable roles? What are some of the jobs that are kind of being redundant and companies are trying to optimize, as you said, those roles?
Oh, great question. So I think it's still a very evolving phase with AI. If you are to believe what the news says and what the general chatter is in the industry, generic software development roles are somewhat getting impacted, not so much. Anyone in the data analytics field, data engineering field, data science field, they are in demand right now. So if you are doing your master's in these fields and you're good at what you do, there is a lot of demand for such roles. There is a lot of hiring that is happening in these roles as well. I have a friend's sister who recently sort of graduated and was also, it wasn't very difficult for her to land a job in data analytics. I know a couple of other folks through It's Ok Yaar who reached out to us and have mentioned that their master's was in data engineering and they were able to land internships and they were able to land full-time jobs post their internships. But a lot of other fields like UX designers, a lot of their roles are being either eliminated or they are evolving into something more. It is, like I said, it's an evolving field. A lot of marketing related jobs are right now they're not getting impacted. Right now AI is aiding marketing related jobs. So like I said, I'm in marketing. A lot of my tasks are now getting automated. It gives me more time to work on strategy. A lot of editors are now losing their jobs just because AI is able to do it in a much faster and a much cheaper way, right? So there are certain industries that are seeing this impact, but there is still a lot of opportunity. I think the market will still take some time for anyone of us to sort of figure out.
And yeah, even, you talked about content editing and those kind of jobs being impacted. And it's a good time to learn these tools and upgrade yourself to actually know and work aside AI instead of relying upon your own skills. I think that is one of the key things that people can take from here. So, prompt engineering, something everyone should know.
I was about to say prompt engineering. Yes, you're absolutely right, Gaurav. I think everyone should start picking up certain AI related skills. I see that industry being impacted quite a lot. We've already discussed about editors, right? A lot of content writing related jobs will eventually be eliminated. Just because AI will get much better at it. Not in US, because US is still extremely sort of vigilant about writers' rights, actors' rights, and everything.
Indians are the most immigrating people in US. For last few years, around 1.2 lakh Indians come to US every day. I was doing some research. 3.5% of them come to work. Around 5.6% of them come to study, and rest are, visiting their families and stuff. So you see a large workforce which is building up, compromises of Indians, especially in tech, as you said. And when they are not getting these jobs, there is a possibility of reverse immigration as well, which we saw in 2008 as well. And I see a lot of people with the hashtag of Ghar, wapasi kind of, trending these days as well. So do you have any comments on that?
It's an interesting topic. This will probably require a separate podcast by itself. But no, so it is a challenging situation. Yes, a lot of people are moving back to India. There are multiple factors to it. I will not just assign lack of jobs to it. America also, for a lot of Indians specifically, they feel that America is also on a cultural decline at this point of time. The kind of politics that's going on. And on the flip side, on the other side, India is doing economically very well. Right? There are possibilities in India. A lot of Indians who are here on visas, they're not able to fulfill their entrepreneurial dreams. Right? You have that freedom to pursue if you're in India. A lot of people don't want their kids to grow up in the US. So I've seen a lot of friends and friends of friends move to India when their kids are still at an impressionable age. So when their kids are 3-4 years, they're just moving to India. And because their kids are American citizens, they want their kids to eventually decide whether they want to move to the US when they grow up or when they turn 18. So that is happening a lot. I would say there are very few people who are moving back to India because of lack of jobs. 90% of people who get laid off while they're on H-1B visa, they end up finding a job in the 60-day period. There is a certain science behind finding a job in the US. If you crack that science, if you crack that process, things become eventually much easier.
What is the process? Enlighten us.
It's a very methodical process, right? Step one, obviously everyone knows that you need to have your resume right. There are a lot of AI tools helping you these days to get your resume right. You just need to know how to frame your resume. So Indians specifically have the habit of listing their responsibilities in their resume. Don't list your responsibilities, list the result of your responsibilities.
So question here is, there are different categories of job. Let's say, you are applying for a data analyst role or a business analyst role, and you have skills which are crossing over, right? You can do both the jobs. So I think what most of the people face is every job description is different, and then changing your resume according to that is a kind of very tedious task. So is there a tool in which you provide the link of the job description or copy paste it, and then it does kind of customization?
It does. So like I said, there are a lot of tools. There is Resume Worded, there is JobWrite AI, there is JobScan. There's so many AI tools which will help you. If you just need to upload the job description, you need to upload your resume, and it will, in more or less after a few minutes, it will help you come up with a good enough resume. Yes, the problem that you've mentioned, that there are overlapping skills. You have to tweak certain skills, because even the hiring managers want you to have those transferable skills. Yes, they're not hiring for a business analyst, but they won't reject you just because you have a business analyst profile. If you are able to show in your resume that whatever experience that you had as a business analyst can also be easily adapted into a data analyst role, you stand a good chance. The other thing that a lot of Indian immigrants are not able to sort of crack is the first recruiter round. And that is because we really don't know how to sell ourselves. It's because you were not able to explain why you were the perfect person for the job. And that usually starts with the recruiter round. It's usually a phone screening. And the most ridiculous question that people think is the most ridiculous question is, tell me about yourself, right? The recruiter should have gone through my resume. That is not why they're asking you, tell me about yourself. That is your elevator pitch. They're checking your communication skills. They're checking whether you've done the things that you're saying. They're checking in that brief 1.5 minute. They're checking that how good you are at storytelling. So irrespective of any job that you apply to in the US specifically, storytelling will eventually become a large part of your role. And after that, the next thing that they're going to check is whether the role that you're applying for and the skills that you have even a 70% match up. And they'll just ask you why you're looking for this job and why this job. If you're able to explain that, the next 10 minutes of your interview will just be whether the salary is perfect for you or not, whether you require a visa sponsorship or not. That is the only thing you will definitely score the hiring manager round. When it comes to the hiring manager round, 90% of those interviews are about hard skills, which a lot of Indians have. And those hiring managers are able to understand what you're saying. Yes, there is a lot of polishing and communication skills still required, but when you're being judged for your skills, Indians are relatively better at it. When you're being judged for your soft skills, we lack. And that is where we need to polish. That is why a lot of international students struggle.
Definitely. I think the soft skills, as you said, earlier it was called soft skills, now it's called storytelling, but essentially it's the same thing. It's how you project yourself. It doesn't matter what you have in terms of caliber to deliver, but you have to also sell it, you have to also showcase it, and not only during the interview itself, but even after joining a company to get a promotion, so a lot of people think that this is kind of a buttering, but no, it's kind of a storytelling. It's how you project, how you kind of show your confidence. Tell us something that people can use to network a bit more, how they can. So finding jobs online is one thing, but I think networking is also essential. A lot of referral jobs work better than applying.
Yes, networking is extremely important, and not just online networking. So there are two aspects to it. Yes, you need to network on LinkedIn, and you will get rejected almost 80% of the times. But like I said, it's not just about online. You have to meet people offline. That is where you'll make that connection. You'll have to put yourself out there. Go to meetups, go to random networking events. Pay that entry fee into a networking event. If there is a fee, yes, pay that, because that is the difference between someone who's not paid that $50 to enter that networking event and you, because now you have access to those people who are there. Don't network for the sake of networking. Build genuine relationship. Read about people that you actually want to sort of reach out to. So when you're having a conversation with them, you know what will interest them and what is something that you can offer them. I think if you're doing these basics, if you're putting yourself out there a lot more, you will form a good network. Reach out to your alumni if you are coming here to study. Reach out to people who are working in a company that you aspire to work in. Like I said, 90% of them will reject or will not respond to you at all. But there are few people who will. And that is your opportunity. Once you have your foot in the door, I think Indians are extremely smart of converting that opportunity.
Yeah, what I can add to this is carry a visiting card, because that has a reminder value. These days it's out of fashion, but I think something physical kind of gives a recall value. And when you connect on LinkedIn, people will be able to recall it better. You said that Indians are better in converting those opportunities, and I kind of read somewhere as well that we are kind of very kind of hardworking in terms of putting on the extra hours, making sure that job gets done, and a lot of companies and a lot of people do understand and do kind of appreciate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A lot of companies do appreciate that. I have the first company that I joined after I moved to the US, it was a startup called Homies. It was a social media platform for immigrants specifically. The founder of that startup, on the day I joined, he said that Indians are probably not good at starting something from scratch. They're very good at making it work. What he was referencing to is all the tech CEOs in the US, where we're not the founders of those companies, but they're very good at running those companies eventually. But yeah, like you said, we're ready to put in the hours. We are hardworking. It sometimes backfires when you're working with a lot of Americans who expect you to not put extra pressure on them because you are putting in those extra hours.
Okay. So, Darshan, coming to the job market, coming out of it and diving a bit into the entrepreneurship sector, there are a lot of Indians who are venturing out as well. They've gained experience. They are kind of quite safe in terms of immigration status and all those things as well. So, how do you see this entrepreneurship sector emerging with Indians playing a major role these days?
Oh, it is booming right now. So to give you I just read a report yesterday. It said that 55% of American unicorns are founded by immigrants. So say for example, if it saying 100, say there are 100 American unicorns were founded by immigrants, 66 were from Indians. Now there are two kinds of sort of Indians here. There are Indian Americans who have been here for a while, and they are now doing really well. So I think the ones that we've discussed earlier, but there are a lot of new age immigrants who came here to study 10 years ago, and now they are starting their own businesses. They're also doing really well. I know a lot of small businesses. I wouldn't say small businesses. I would say relatively new businesses who are started that are started by immigrants. So there is a business called the Cumin Club. They're doing really well. They recently got funded. There is somebody called as NRI. It's started by someone who studied here in the US, and then
yeah, I know him.
You know him,
Quentin. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. So they're doing really well. There is another a business called Unplex. I think Unplex is also a payment solution where you can transfer money to India, but there's a small amount, so you can transfer through WhatsApp. So Indians are coming up with really unique solutions to very unique Indian problems. Uh, and that's great, right? Obviously, there are a lot of big companies, like there is Mohit Arun from Cohesity, there is Jyoti Bansal from App Dynamics, there's Ashutosh Garg from Bloomreach. These are all doing, like, these are unicorn. They have built unicorn companies over the past 2 decades or so. But a lot of people like us have also ventured into businesses. You may call them small businesses, but because of the internet, because of content creation, those businesses have gotten wider reach and they're doing phenomenally well for themselves. Yes, I mean, it'll take some time for them to, say, get funded or anything. But then there are people like Arjita, who came here on a dependent visa, then started her own company, and now kudos to her, she's helping a lot of immigrants start their own business. We did an entrepreneurs meetup last year in New York City, and we did not expect the kind of turnout that we saw. 90% of them showed up. So there was 70 people who RSVP'd for that event. 55, 60 people ended up coming for that event. And yeah, the energy was palpable. And these are all immigrants. These are people who have come here on visas, and now they're starting their own business. These are people who came here on a dependent visa, waited for their work permit for 3 years, and in those 3 years, they were just sort of polishing their ideas. And the moment they had their work permit, they launched their own business.
Even I also came across a few good startups like Ashutosh Saxena from Casper AI. He's working on AI solutions for smart homes. Anil Advani, he started Inventors Law, which helps VCs to kind of, from a legality perspective. Ruchit Garg, he's working on agri-tech startup. So yeah, a lot of Indian immigrants which are starting really interesting projects and companies in US.
I think post-COVID, a lot of businesses got scaled because people are now comfortable with online trainings or online courses, or just sort of working with people who are not close to them, right? And just opened up a lot of avenues. But yeah, it's phenomenal right now. Like, if you go to any entrepreneurial meetup, the energy will make you want to do something of your own, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think some of the inspiration and role models are like evergreen. You have so many examples of people who are CEOs and CXOs in US for large companies. Personally, who is your kind of role model from an Indian context point of view?
I don't know. I don't generally have any role models as such, to be very honest. I do respect all the tech CEOs that India has given to this world, be it Sundar Pichai, be it Satya Nadella, be it any other tech CEO of Indian origin. Why? Because that has given us an image of someone looking like us who can also run big companies. I think for a very long time in my, like, when I was relatively younger, I felt, why are people talking about representation? But I think once you are at that age, you realize that why representation matters. Why seeing someone of your origin at a big company like a Google or a Microsoft leading those companies matters, because then you can aspire to be like them.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the people we are talking about, like, to the likes of Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella. How to identify a toxic workplace while interviewing or while joining a company itself? Do you have any comments on that?
Why interviewing? There are couple of things that you can notice. The biggest red flag is in the job description in itself. If the job description is not written properly, and they expect you to do a lot of things. That is one big red flag. If they say, so again, unlimited PTO is the biggest red flag. You will never be able to take PTOs. So don't fall for unlimited PTOs in the job description. When someone says in the first introductory call itself that you'll have to wear multiple hats, unless it is a startup, you shouldn't be wearing multiple hats, because US has proper swim lanes in most organizations. Yes, if you are in a position where you want to just learn a lot of different things, yes, you can still try, but I would say approach with caution. If the salary range is not mentioned in the job description, I would say it is a very big red flag, because then there is a high possibility that they will undercut you and they will not pay you well. I think after joining, it's the worst thing you can have is a micromanager. I think that's a big red flag, a big sign of a toxic workplace. There are certain organizations which are actually good. They are kind. They understand your needs and they want you to grow. Yes, there are very few of them, but they're not all corporate organizations are bad or evil as they are made out to.
So Darshan, now kind of a final question. You help a lot of Indians from different perspective to adjust and get used to living in US. Can you tell us more about It's Ok Yaar and how people can reach you guys?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So It's Ok Yaar is a content platform that aims to educate, entertain, and empower immigrants, specifically South Asian immigrants. And we've been here for 3 years. So by now, you can obviously sort of reach out to us on Instagram. That's where we are most active. We create a lot of educational content on YouTube. So we've covered a lot of visa categories. We've tied up with multiple immigration lawyers, because we don't offer immigration consultancy. We've just tied up with lawyers and we don't make any money out of them. It's just giving immigrants access to those lawyers, because we work with them. So we've curated a good list of immigration lawyers that we work with and we trust. It's me and my wife, Priya. On Instagram, you will not see much of me because my wife, Priya, is sort of more active when we're creating reels. I'm more of a behind the scenes person, scripting and shooting and editing, all of that stuff. But Instagram and YouTube are a predominant places. You can obviously reach out to individually to both of us on LinkedIn.
Well, thanks a lot, Darshan. Thanks for doing this and coming from behind the camera, in front of the camera, answering so many questions around the job market in US. I wish you and your wife very well for your venture. It's okay.
No, thank you so much. It is a pleasure being on this podcast, Gaurav. I hope the conversation helps people. And I just hope you all the success. I think your podcast is great. Between the time we spoke last week and today, I've gone through 2 or 3 podcasts of yours. It's full of information. You're reaching out to a lot of Indians across different countries. I hope to watch more of your podcasts.
Thank you so much, Darshan. Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you so much.